Danny Garcia versus Jose Benavidez Jr. They recently fought over at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Fight was shown live on Showtime. Fight was scheduled for 12 rounds. It went the whole 12 rounds, and Danny Garcia won the fight somehow won the fight by majority decision. I don't know how he won by majority decision. One judge had it a draw. Walexka Roldan. Is that a girl or is that a guy? Yeah, she or he had it 114, 114. Yeah, whoever this judge is, he or she is not a good judge. Apparently, he's had some controversial decisions as well, or he's scored some controversial fights before. Looking at his resume, it looks like he's scored a lot of fights throughout his career. Um, and I wonder what's the controversial ones that he's had. I know he scored the Pacquiao fight. I think he scored it very wide in favor of Jeff Horn. Um, from what I've read, what other recent fights is? I mean, he's been scoring a lot of fights. Josh Kelly, Ray Robinson won. He had it a draw. Um, Munguia versus Hogan. That was a close fight actually. He had it wider for Munguia. I thought a lot of people thought Hogan won that fight. Um, for the Texera versus Mario Alberto Lozano, he had it in favor of Texera. Uh, man, I don't know how he had it a draw. That's the thing. That's the crazy part, right? How in the world can you score this fight a draw? I just don't know how you could score a draw because honestly, watching it, I know I was at work, um, but I was able to find the time to, watch the majority of this fight. Um, and I thought Danny Garcia clearly won this fight. Maybe one or two rounds to Benavidez, maybe three at most. Four, I think that's a little pushing it. Four from Glenn Feldman. He gave 4 rounds to Jose Benavidez. Um, but in the end, Danny Garcia won this fight. Clearly won this fight. He did a good job moving around. There were times where he got careless a bit. Was throwing too wide, from throwing way too far from a distance, which allowed Benavidez to work on him. That's why I could definitely see you giving him um, up to four rounds if you're being very very generous, I guess. But I could definitely see you giving him up to 3 rounds. But in the end, it was Danny Garcia who won this fight. Benavidez just doesn't have the feet to keep up. He doesn't have the feet to cut off the ring, to move around, to keep up with a lot of these fighters who have 2 feet. Danny Garcia is not really known for his footwork, but yet his footwork looked amazing compared to Benavidez inside that ring. So, I think Benavidez, there was a time where he was, doing pretty well and Top Rank was fully behind him, but he ended up getting shot, unfortunately. And, it's one of those things that you can't predict happening to you. And unfortunately, it happened to Benavidez, and it has definitely affected his career big time. Because honestly, if he didn't get shot, I remember thinking there was a time where I was like, man, Benavidez is a future world champion. I was thinking that back then. I wish I could bring up those videos from years ago in my older channels, the Igor Warrior and Boxing Sphere channels. But to those who don't know, those channels got removed. But yeah, I think Benavidez could have been a world champion, but with this one leg of his and the inactivity that he's had over the years, um, yeah, I don't think so. It's hard for me to see Benavidez actually winning against top fighters. And even though Danny Garcia is not really a 154 pounder, he's still a top fighter, even though he hasn't been that active also. Anyway, it is what it is. Danny Garcia improves to 37-3, 21 wins coming by way of knockout TKO. What's next for Danny Garcia? In my opinion, if you look at the 154-pound division, there's only one man to beat, and that's Jermell Charlo, who is the undisputed champion of the world. I can definitely see that fight happening. It's an easy fight to make for for PBC. Eventually, right now it looks like Charlo will be fighting Team Zoo in January of next year. It looks like that's a plan, and I see Charlo also fighting Fundura because I think Fundura right now is his mandatory for the WBC because he's the interim champ. Um, but yeah, Danny Garcia is definitely a fight I could see for Charlo in the foreseeable future. As for Jose Benavidez, he's 30 years old, but yeah, he's pretty much done in my opinion. I don't really see him um, really making an impact in the sport with the way he fights and him being so flat-footed. I just don't see him really beating a lot of these top names, whether it's at 147 or 154. So you know, it, unfortunately, it's probably time to retire because he's at this point. PBC is just gonna use him as a stepping stone fighter, um, unless that's what he wants. To get paid to lose and to show a lot of heart and determination, which he showed. He showed a lot of heart and determination and toughness. Um, but with that one leg being shot, he's not the same fighter. He really isn't. If you go back and watch his fights prior to him being shot, he looked a lot better than he does now. And and like I said before, unfortunately, it happened to him. Um, so I think we might see Benavidez fight again, though. I mean, he's 30 years old, so I'm sure we're gonna see him fight again. But I really don't really see him winning big fights uh, in the future. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What did you guys think about this fight? Thanks for listening and watching, and like always, have a great day. All right, thanks.